Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Zero worries. What's going on, my friend?
What's going on, man? How's it going?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Blessed, just living, man.
I'm sure you are after this last month of yours. It's been pretty exciting, hasn't it?
Yeah, man. It's been crazy, man. It's been a crazy, I'll say like couple of months, man. It feels like a month and a half, 2 months. So yeah, it's been crazy, man. But blessed.
I cannot wait to dive in and let you tell kind of your story of how this all came to be. The massive PrizePicks entry, the growth of your Dub Club, and the hundreds of thousands of dollars that you've put in your subscribers' pockets. But just to start, let's hear a little bit about you and your background and how Zero Worries came to be.
Yeah, man. So I started off, I'm a big sports guy anyway. I grew up playing basketball. Played college ball for 4 years, and then I could have went professionally and played, but the cost of like as far as like the living style and what I was going to be getting paid, I was like, I want to jump into the real world early, so I don't want to be that guy that's like, in his 30s, now coming back trying to do a job, and a lot of these jobs is based off experience. So I got into sales coming right out of school. I had a couple interviews with some NBA teams trying to get into like sales, things like that. I always knew I wanted to kind of be in the sales. You can have different tools to help you throughout life. So um, I ended up getting a job for a digital marketing company, Town Square Interactive. And I was basically in sales for a digital marketing company, helping guys, business owners, grow their business, essentially. And on the side, even throughout basketball, like I'll say like my senior year of college, I got into sports gambling. Somebody introduced me to Bovado at first, and I started betting like money lines. And then I found that the app PrizePicks, and I started there doing like player props here and there. And then it kind of grew, and I was like, you know what, I might just like start a page. I was already looking at people out there on Twitter, getting my picks from other guys, things like that. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just try to find a way to research my own props and figure it out. So I created a Twitter page, and I already had the brand Zero Worries. It kind of like came about throughout college with the NIL and things like that. So I ended up starting that page up. I'm like, it kind of goes together, Zero Worries, Zero Worries on your bets, kind of go together. So I created that page, and then I started like basically just posting my winning slips. So I wasn't really giving out picks at first. And then I started to grow. Some people kept liking it. And then as I kept growing, my page got to like 200, 300 followers. And people were like, man, you should start like charging for your bets. You should start like a Discord, or you should start like something like that, whatever. So I didn't pay it any mind. And then my page started getting, um, more traction. And as that, came about, I was like, you know what, I might as well start it. I'm already doing it anyways. I'm posting on Twitter, I'm active on here. So that's kind of how it all started, man. And then, the entry thing, that's a whole nother story. But just, getting started off. Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
that's kind of like the beginning of it.
let's dive into that because you know, you were gaining traction from posting winning free plays on a daily basis, which you still do today, which is awesome. And you take care of all your followers, whether they're paying subscriber of yours or not. But um, probably the most eye-catching and most exciting thing from your last couple of months has been this $1 million entry that you were, I think, 2 assists away from cashing in on. You still ended up walking away with 80 grand, but uh, tell our listeners kind of about that experience and what this $1 million entry was.
Yeah, so throughout the playoffs, Prize Picks, they even had it last year, but it was a different type of setup. But they basically gave out a free $1 million entry each day throughout the whole entire playoffs. So playoffs started in March, late March, April, whatever the case was. From then all the way into the end, into the finals, they would give out a free entry each day. So what they do is they pick a random winner at a different time slot each day. I think the window starts at like 10 o'clock, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, and then um, I'm not sure if it had like a blocking time, but if they picked a random number at the time slot, so if I pick my entry at, if I put an entry in at 2:15, and they pick that specific time slot, then you won the entry. So um, that day specifically, even throughout the whole playoffs, I would put in entries like trying to win it. Like I'm gonna make a couple of slips to give myself a better chance at it. But this specific day, I wasn't even like trying to win it. I was just making slips, posting for the Dub Club, things like that. And I ended up making my entries, and I walked my dog. I went outside, and I came back in. I left my phone inside, so I came back in and I checked my phone, and I had an email, and it said like you won the free entry, and they had like PrizePicks as like the uh, the the title of the email, or whatever. So I'm like, what is this? I opened it up. I'm like, this can't be real. Like, this is fake. Like, nah. Like, I get a bunch of spam emails anyway. So, not too long after that, like 2 minutes later, I got a text message, and it was like, the director of Prize League was like, you won the entry, whatever. And I'm like, how do I know this is real? And he was like, well, once you once you fill out the form, you'll see it reflect on your account. So after that, I immediately like jumped up out of my seat. I started sweating instantly. I called my mom, my dad, and my brother. Crazy thing is, nobody picked up the first time. I'm like, what is going on? Like this is something big. You expect somebody to pick up the phone. So she's like, hey, look, what's going on? Like, but my mom ended up calling me back, and then I talked to her a little bit, and she's like, well, fill out the information, see if it's real. I filled it out, and not too long after, I saw it reflect on my account. Like I had the free entry. Um, from there, man, it was like the longest hour of my life. I'll say that. I had an hour to basically to make my entry. So I got in a group with a couple of guys on Twitter that I'm in good contact with. That's does good research. A1 Fantasy, Dr. Profit, shout out to those guys. Got in a little Twitter space, start talking about some plays. Um, and man, it was the longest hour of my life. And then, I made the entry, and it kind of went from there. And then we kind of get into the, sweating the game out, how it went, like, post game. But yeah, man, from the start to finish, even to the entry, it was a long process, man. It was really exciting. It was crazy.
Yeah, so for everybody listening at home, if you get a 6-man slip, and if you go 6 for 6, you get $1,000,000. 5 for 6, 80 grand, and then kind of it ladders down.
Yeah.
And zero was
I think. Yeah.
you were finished 5 for 6, so you put 80 grand in your pocket. What was the one play that missed, and how close was it?
Yeah, so the play that missed, so I went 5 or 6, 80,000. The play that actually missed was Nikola Jokic, and he's basically the MVP of the finals. So that one should have been the sweat free of the slip, but that became the toughest one. Um, yeah, that was the one that missed. All the other ones I had, I think I can't remember exact ones off the top of my head. But what's crazy is I didn't even watch the game. So like when the game came on, I made my slip, and I'm like, you know what? Um, I'm not even gonna look at the game. I'm not gonna sweat it out. I'm gonna just let it play out. It happens. It happens. So um, I didn't watch the game the whole night. Turned on like a Netflix series, watched that, and then my brother actually texted me because he knew about it. He texted me at like towards the end of the third quarter, and which I didn't want him to do. I'm like, yo, like just let me rock out like this. And so he texted me. He was like, yo, like 4 out of 6 already cashed, so that's 16,000. 4 out of 6. And I'm like, oh man, yeah, I'm about to turn the game on now. I turned the series off and turned the game on. So and it kind of went from there. But um, yeah, man, it was a crazy experience. And I ended up rewatching the game the next day, and I found out that Nikola Jokic had actually got in foul trouble early in the first quarter. So that's kind of what limited him, and he came up 7 short on PRA.
Got it. Yeah, and you would have thought if anybody was going to get to that number, it would have been him with the finals performance that he put on. But hey, I'll take 80 grand, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Let's dive into how you actually go about building these slips. Like, what type of research tools do you use? What type of time goes into it? How are you able to do it profitably across a bunch of different sports, including basketball, including esports, including baseball, kind of all the above?
Yeah, so my main thing is NBA, NFL, then MLB. Hockey, I kind of know a couple of guys in the community that's their main focus, so I kind of pick their brains here and there. Um, but as far as like NBA, MLB, and like NFL football, um, I use a lot of different tools. I use there's a tool called Plato IQ. I use that for baseball, um, and that kind of gives me stats on the games. I use Outlier to find different trends in each prop. But the first thing what I do is you can go to like DraftKings. Um, you can also go to like you can go to DraftKings. You can also what's the other one? FanDuel. That's what I'm thinking of. I go there. Usually it's DraftKings. I go there and I look at the odds. I don't do it all the time, but I use it as like a guide to like guide me on different props. And then once I see a prop that's interesting, I'll go deeper into it, and that's when I use those other tools like Outlier, um, Plato IQ, um, things like that. And there's also another thing out there that's becoming that's trending right now, the optimizer, BG Fantasy. I use that a
Mm-hmm.
lot as well to find different discrepancies across different apps. I use PrizePicks, but I also use Sleeper and Underdog. If you guys want to sign up, 0WORRIES. but
I
uh,
love that plug.
but yeah, I use those different platforms to kind of help me research my different picks. I follow sports a lot, so most of the stuff I don't have to research as much because I know them, especially NBA. I watch, I play basketball, so um, most of those are kind of like no brainers, but also depending on what teams. It's a lot that goes into it. Somebody sees a bet and they're like, okay, it's minus 170 on the books, like it's a smash. Like you have to look at the trends, and you also have to look at the past matchups, and um, you also have to look at the focus of the other team, going into the game. So it's a lot of things that go into it, but those tools specifically has helped me out a lot. Um, finding the best value out there. That's a lot of people. It's not just about betting over on a player just because you like them. Um, it's also about betting against the sports book sometimes. So Um, but that's what I use to kind of find the best value out there, for myself and guys.
Absolutely. It sounds like a very time intensive process. Like, how long does it take you? Your subscribers just receive the picks, and they don't really realize like how much time and effort goes into this. What would you say in terms of hours or minutes it takes for you to build a given slate of picks in a given day?
Yeah, so I would say, I mean, it's like a job to be honest. Especially if you're doing this, at the rate that you're doing it with a lot of subscribers. I say it's different times of the day because in the mornings or late nights, like it's kind of like the stock market. Like later in the throughout the night, like 12, 2 a.m. You'll see a lot of gyms when they just when they first drop the board, um, and then you kind of like have different slips posted that you kind of keep an eye on just to see if I shift. But I say like probably not too long, like maybe like a couple of hours, depending on what you're playing, um, how you're lining up your picks, things like that. And typically myself is what I teach to my Dub Club is I try to bet 10% of my bankroll each day, just to kind of limit yourself. Bankroll management is a huge part of this, but I say anywhere between like 3 to 4 hours, um, to be able to make all my slips for the entire day. I say like two to three.
So obviously, it's way easier to just pay the money to subscribe to you to get these winning picks, message straight to you, be a member of your Discord community, make some friends in there. But for folks, that are learning, they want to be like you, they want to damn near win this $1 million entry. What advice would you give to them to pursue their passion in sports betting if they do want to be the next Zero Worries?
Yeah, I would say just um, like this whole thing is about doing something that you enjoy, right? I enjoy sports. I enjoy the competitive side of like betting. You know, feeling that I just beat the sports book, so I won, whatever the case may be. But I would just say like, if it's something that you're interested in, like if it's something where you want to be a capper, like jump out there, like make a Twitter page like I did. I started from scratch. I didn't really have an idea of being this big, but um, I started off and I just kept being consistent. Like whatever you do, be consistent in what you do. Do your research. Just don't go off what people tell you. Like figure it out yourself. That's the best way. Make mistakes. Lose a couple of times. Lose some slips. You'll kind of learn how to maneuver in this thing. It took me like a year to really just figure it out. I used to just like put out slips. And for people that's watching that sports gambler, I used to put out 3-mans. Anybody that's in the sports community know that's the worst leg, unless you're on underdog, which is a 6X. But yeah, I would just say stay consistent, man. And if it's something that you enjoy, like go full out, like go all out on it, and put the time in and be consistent.
That's phenomenal. Zero Worries, you're incredibly humble for the community that you've built, the lives that you've impacted, and so we are very lucky that you utilize Dub Club, and couldn't think more highly of you and everything you've done. So thank you so much for coming on the show and being a really great influence for your thousands and thousands of followers out there. Everybody, I strongly suggest go give 0WORRIES a follow on Twitter. Go subscribe to his Dub Club, get in his Discord, because you'll learn a lot from him. So thank you so much for the time, and I can't wait to have you on again here pretty soon.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you guys giving me the platform, man. I appreciate you having me on. It was a blast for sure.
Dollar, 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 dollar.